Title: The Long Road Home. I've always been fascinated by the thrill of driving at night. There's something about the darkness, the open road stretching out in front of me like an endless ribbon, that sets my heart racing. But little did I know that one fateful night would forever change my perception of the exhilarating joy I once felt behind the wheel. It was a moonless night, and the stars were masked by thick, foreboding clouds that seemed to swallow the very essence of light. I found myself cruising along a desolate stretch of highway, the hum of the engine providing a comforting soundtrack to the solitude that surrounded me. The radio crackled with static, unable to find a signal in the remote location. As I drove deeper into the night, an uneasy feeling settled over me. The trees on either side of the road appeared to loom closer, their branches reaching out like gnarled fingers, threatening to snatch me from the safety of my car. Shadows danced in the corners of my vision, playing tricks on my weary mind. The road ahead stretched on, seemingly never-ending. I glanced at the clock, and a shiver ran down my spine. It was nearly midnight, and there was no sign of civilization in sight. Panic set in, and I clutched the steering wheel tighter, desperately hoping to stumble upon a gas station or a welcoming roadside motel. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the darkness, standing in the middle of the road. My heart leaped into my throat as I slammed on the brakes, skidding to a halt just inches away from the mysterious stranger. Trembling, I peered through the windshield, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. The person was dressed in tattered clothes, their face obscured by a hood. They raised their heads slowly, revealing hollow, empty eyes that seemed to pierce through my very soul. Without a word, they beckoned me to follow. Fear consumed me, but a morbid curiosity gnawed at my sanity. Against my better judgment, I turned off the engine and stepped out of the car, the cold night air biting at my skin. The stranger turned and started walking down a narrow path that disappeared into a thick forest. An inexplicable force compelled me to follow, my footsteps echoing in the silence that enveloped us. The trees seemed to whisper malevolently, their branches scraping against each other with an eerie, otherworldly sound. The path twisted and turned, leading us deeper into the heart of the unknown. I could feel a presence watching me, its weight heavy upon my shoulders. Just when I thought I couldn't take another step, we arrived at a clearing. In the center stood an old, dilapidated house, its windows shattered and its wooden facade crumbling. The stranger motioned for me to enter, and with trepidation, I crossed the threshold. The interior was a nightmare of decay and despair. Cobwebs adorned the corners, and the floor creaked beneath my feet. Shadows danced on the peeling wallpaper, casting sinister shapes that seemed to writhe with a life of their own. I called out, but my voice was swallowed by the oppressive silence. As I ventured deeper into the house, a sense of dread washed over me. Each room held its own macabre secrets, revealing glimpses of a horrific past. The walls seemed to close in, pressing against my very being. Panic surged through my veins, and I knew I had to escape this nightmarish place. I retraced my steps, my heart pounding in my chest when I found myself face to face with the stranger once again. This time, their hood had fallen back, revealing a skeletal visage that sent a shockwave of terror through my body. I stumbled backward, desperate to flee, but I was trapped in this living nightmare. The figure raised its bony hand, pointing accusingly at me. Its voice, a chilling whisper, echoed through the desolate halls. "You have trespassed upon sacred ground. Now you shall remain here, forever haunted by the darkness you sought." With that haunting proclamation, the house seemed to come alive. Its walls contorted, trapping me within its cursed embrace. The air grew suffocating, choking off my screams as the house devoured my very existence. And now, as an eternal prisoner in this spectral realm, I can only warn others of the perils of driving at night. For there are places in this world that should remain untouched, places where the darkness reigns and nightmares come to life. Beware the allure of the open road, for it may lead you to your own personal hell, where escape is but a distant dream.